Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something truly mind-bending. Forget life as we know it, we're asking, could there be life made of dark matter?
It sounds like pure sci-fi, doesn't it? But the science is catching up.
Exactly. We're focusing on a really fascinating article, How to Identify a Dark Matter Life Form by Jay Alfred. And we're going to unpack what this could mean for, well, everything.
It's quite a journey. You know, for ages, dark matter was just this invisible stuff we only knew was there because of gravity.
Right, the mystery mass.
Yeah. But that view is rapidly changing. We're moving towards thinking about a dark sector, like a whole hidden universe tangled up with ours. It's revolutionary.
A hidden universe made of the stuff that's, what, 85% of all matter?
That's the astonishing part. And it opens up possibilities that honestly seemed impossible just a short while ago.
Okay, so that's the setup. Our mission today is to tackle how we might actually find life in this hidden sector based on these cutting-edge ideas. We're diving deep, drawing on Jay Alfred's work and others.
Get ready, because this really could challenge your whole definition of life.
Okay, let's unpack this first bit. For decades, we thought dark matter was, like, simple, inert, slow, maybe one kind of particle, just adding mass. But the sources we looked at say that idea is pretty outdated now, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely outdated. There's been a profound shift. Top scientists, people like Lisa Randall at Harvard, Sean Carroll at Caltech, they're not thinking single particle anymore. They're talking dark sector.
A whole ecosystem.
Exactly, with its own forces, maybe its own particles. Lisa Randall put it perfectly. She said, given the complexity of the standard model, it seems very odd to assume that all of dark matter is composed of only one type of particle.
Makes sense. Our side is complicated. Why should the dark side be simple?
Precisely. And what's really interesting is Jay Alfred was saying similar things way back in 2005. He argued it'd be too simplistic to think 85% of the universe's matter is just one thing. He suggested, and I'm quoting loosely here, a great diversity of particles and energies in dark matter.
Ahead of the curve. So if this dark sector has its own forces, maybe its own dark charge, does that mean it has its own light too? Like dark light?
That's the logical stuff, yeah. If there's a dark electromagnetic-like force, there needs to be a force carrier. Randall calls it the dark photon. It would carry dark light, completely invisible to us, our telescopes, everything.
Wow. A whole different kind of light.
And again, Jay Alfred was on this track early. In 2005, he talked about dark light, or superlight, composed of superphotons. It's really striking how these ideas converge.
Incredible foresight.
Yeah.
So we're not just talking about a lonely particle out there, but potentially a whole complex system interacting with itself.
Exactly. Sean Carroll emphasizes this. He says the dark matter might be a set of one or more kinds of particles with some noticeable forces acting between them. It's not just gravity.
So they could bump into each other, attract, repel, using dark forces.
Potentially, yes. And there's more. Researchers like J.D. Clark and Robert Foote in Melbourne suggested dark matter might be multi-component, interacting via a massless dark photon. These models, often called ISIDM, self-interacting dark matter,
ISIDM, right.
they actually do a better job explaining how dark matter seems to be distributed in galaxies, the details of it. It even implies something called dark radiation, which others like Kaplan-Hatt, Pan, and Yu discussed in 2018. It paints a picture of a hidden physics playing out all around us.
Okay, my mind is officially bending. Because here's the kicker, right? If there's a whole dark sector, with its own particles, charges, forces, even dark light, does that mean it could host life, its own kind of light?
That's the ultimate leap, isn't it? And it's where things get really fascinating. If dark matter particles have even a weak dark charge, what state of matter would they naturally form?
Not solid, liquid, or gas as we know it.
Probably not. Sean Carroll, Jay Alfred, others. They converged on the idea that it would likely exist as a complex dark plasma.
Dark plasma, okay.
Carroll explicitly said, what we are proposing is that the dark matter is really a plasma. And to understand how galaxies form, you need to consider dark magnetohydrodynamics.
Oh, okay, big word. What's that?
Yeah. Magnetohydrodynamics. It's just the study of how electrically charged fluids like plasma interact with magnetic fields. So dark magnetohydrodynamics is how this hypothetical dark plasma would behave. And again, Jay Alfred proposed back in 2005 that dark matter, just like most of our visible matter, is largely plasma.
Right. Let's quickly remind everyone about plasma. It's not just something from sci-fi movies. It's the fourth state of matter, right? Super common.
Supremely common. Over 99% of the ordinary matter in the universe is plasma. You get it when atoms get so hot or energetic that electrons get stripped away, leaving this soup of charged ions and electrons.
Like the sun or lightning or those novelty plasma balls?
Exactly. Or fluorescent lights, the aurora borealis. The key thing is it's not just a hot gas. The charged particles interact collectively over long distances. It's dynamic stuff.
So why would dark matter form a plasma? What's the reasoning?
Well, there are a few compelling points. First, that weak dark charge we mentioned. If the charge is weak, it doesn't take much energy to knock dark electrons off dark atoms, making plasma formation easier. And it also makes it harder for them to recombine back into neutral atoms.
Okay, so it stays ionized more easily.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Second, think about the candidate particles. Things like WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles, or axions. They're generally thought to be slow-moving, cold, dark matter.
Right.
Slower particles mean fewer collisions. Fewer collisions mean less chance to form stable dark atoms. So again, plasma seems more likely.
Fewer collisions, less atom building. Got it. What
Yeah.
else?
Third, there could be lots of neutral dark matter particles mixed in, maybe like WIMPs themselves if they are neutral. These could act like dust in ordinary plasma, kind of shielding the charged particles from each other, further reducing strong interactions and favoring a plasma state.
Like a buffer.
Sort of, yeah. And finally, even if only a small fraction of dark matter is actually charged, it can still dominate the overall behavior. You get collective plasma-like effects even with low ionization. A little charge goes a long way in plasma physics.
Okay, so there are solid theoretical reasons to think dark matter could be this complex dark plasma. If that's true, this hidden plasma interacting with itself, might it leave some kind of fingerprint we could see indirectly? Are there any clues out there?
That's the crucial question. And yes, there are some intriguing observational hints. For instance, experiments with ordinary complex plasmas in labs, like those by H. Thomas and colleagues, show they can form beautiful concentric shells like nested spheres.
Okay.
Well, astronomers observe faint shell-like structures in the dark matter halos around some elliptical galaxies. Jay Alfred pointed this out back in 2005 as a possible parallel.
Wow. Shells and lab plasma. Shells around galaxies. Interesting.
Very. Also, simulations of galaxy clusters colliding, if you include a dark plasma component, predict specific features like shock fronts and Mach cones. Think of the sonic boom from a jet, but in dark plasma. Christian Spethman's team simulated this.
And have we seen anything like that?
Remarkably, yes. Features that look very much like these predicted shock fronts and tones have apparently been detected using gravitational lensing to map dark matter in colliding clusters, like one called Abel 520. Maddie Heckenheimo and colleagues reported finding these features, calling them already discovered.
Gravitational lensing is showing us shock waves and invisible matter. That's wild.
It is. And finally, the general behavior expected of a dark plasma fits well with Lisa Randall's theoretical dark disk, a dense disk of dark matter potentially lurking within our own Milky Way galaxy. So theory and observation are starting to kind of mesh.
This is genuinely exciting. So step by step, dark matter might be a complex plasma. Plasma shows complex structures.
Okay.
Where does life come in? Can plasma itself be alive? I remember you mentioned Randall and Carroll hinting at dark life or dark biology.
Exactly. Randall called it an extravagant leap, but possible. Carroll was even more direct, suggesting if you can make dark atoms, then dark chemistry and dark biology aren't far behind. And this isn't just wishful thinking. It connects to real lab work with ordinary plasma.
Like those plasma cell experiments.
Precisely. Loznianu and colleagues back in 2007 created these amazing self-organizing spherical plasma cells in their lab. They spontaneously formed, glowed, and had a distinct boundary and electrical double layer, or sheath.
Like a cell membrane.
Very much like one. It created an internal environment separate from the outside, and these things could apparently absorb energy, exchange material, change internally, split off copies, replicate, and even send and receive information. Loznianu himself thought they could potentially evolve biochemically.
That sounds like proto-life. Plasma replicating. Wow. But I thought there was skepticism. Like, how could plasma form something complex like DNA?
There was skepticism, especially if you were thinking about DNA made of carbon atoms. But then V.N. Satogish and his team at the Russian Academy of Science did something else remarkable in 2007. They showed, through simulations and theory, that dust particles within a plasma could self-organize into stable helical structures.
Oh.
Double helices.
DNA helices, but made of dust in plasma.
Exactly. These helical chains could apparently store information memory marks guiding their own duplication. They could undergo processes resembling metabolism and showed complex, non-linear dynamics like living systems do. Sedovich concluded they had all the properties needed to be candidates for inorganic living matter.
Inorganic life based on plasma and dust helices. Okay, so if ordinary plasma can do that.
Then Jay Alfred's argument follows naturally. If dark matter is a complex plasma, maybe with its own dark dust, then it's quite reasonable to imagine, as he puts it, that dark plasma life forms could evolve following similar principles and showing similar features.
And potentially be all around us, totally unseen.
And not just out in deep space. Remember, those sources suggesting dark matter isn't just cosmologically distant. There's evidence, like from GPS timing variations, suggesting Earth itself might have a significant dark matter component, perhaps concentrated towards the core or in a halo. The moon, too.
So dark matter is likely here, on Earth, within Earth.
Which makes the idea of local, invisible, dark life forms coexisting with us even more, well, intriguing, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, this brings us to the absolute core of Jay Alfred's article. How to identify a dark matter life form? If they're invisible, how would we even conceptualize them? What features, what kind of structures should we be looking for, even theoretically?
Right. This is where Alfred tries to build a template, a conceptual model. Based on how ordinary plasma behaves and the theories about dark plasma, he outlines generic features you'd expect to find in a complex, organized dark plasma entity, a life form. He uses a kind of humanoid template just to help us visualize the arrangement of complex parts, but the components are pure plasma physics.
So not literally little gray aliens made of dark matter, but complex plasma structures with analogous parts.
Exactly. It's a way to wrap our minds around it. So first, picture the main body. A cell body with concentric shells shielded by sheaths. Think spherical or egg-shaped, built from nested layers of dark plasma, each layer perhaps having different properties, and each separated by those electrical double layers, the sheaths, like protective skins.
Like those lab plasma spheres, but potentially much more complex. An onion structure of dark plasma.
That's a good image. Then, running through this body, you'd expect filaments. These are common in space plasmas. Think of the threads in nebulae. In a dark life form, they'd be channels for dark currents to flow.
Like a circulatory system or nerves, but for dark energy or information.
Kind of, yes. And where these filaments interact, you might get helical currents. Combinations of two filaments twisting together into double helices. Remember Sedovic's work. This could be the dark matter equivalent of DNA, a self-organizing structure carrying information formed naturally by plasma dynamics.
Dark DNA made of plasma currents. Okay, what else?
Yeah.
How would it power itself or interact?
You'd look for vortexes. These are whirlpool-like structures, often forming where filaments pinch together or cross. Think of them as energy centers or processing nodes.
Like little whirlpools of dark energy.
Possibly. And inside these vortexes, Alfred suggests you might find plasmoids. These would be incredibly bright, intense points of dark light. Maybe they could even emit focused beams of dark light, acting like tiny searchlights or communication signals, using the plasma itself as a lens.
Dark light beams. And would the surface have features?
Yes. Just like stars, which are giant plasma balls, have features like sunspots and flares, you'd expect the surface of a dark plasma life form to show analogous phenomena. Coronas, spicules, striations, and granulation. Alfred groups these as CSSG characteristic surface textures of a plasma body.
It's an incredibly detailed picture, built from plasma physics. And you mentioned interaction.
Okay.
They wouldn't just sit there, would they? Dark electromagnetic fields.
That's a key part. These complex structures, with their currents and charges, would inevitably generate and interact with dark electromagnetic fields. They could essentially function as intricate plasma antennae.
So they could communicate wirelessly, but with dark light or dark radio waves.
Exactly. Receiving and transmitting information within the dark sector, completely invisible and undetectable to us, for now. And Alfred makes a final, quite staggering point, given that dark matter outweighs our ordinary matter by about 5 or 6 to 1.
There's just so much of it.
Right. So he suggests dark plasma life forms would probably be the most common life forms in the universe, much more common than carbon-based life forms.
Wow. The most common life. We haven't even seen it yet. What an incredible journey we've taken, really, from dark matter just being missing mass to this detailed, plausible blueprint for an entirely different kind of life, thanks to Alfred, Randall, Carroll, and others.
It really reframes everything, doesn't it? This research, this line of thinking, it fundamentally blows open our definition of life. It pushes us to think beyond carbon and water, beyond planets, into this vast, hidden, dark realm that follows its own rules.
It forces us to question our assumptions about what life even is and where it could be.
Precisely. It's a powerful exercise in shedding our sort of biochemical biases.
Which leaves us, and you, our listener, with a really provocative thought. What if the search for extraterrestrial intelligence isn't just about listening for radio signals from distant stars? What if the most prevalent form of life in the cosmos isn't on rocky planets at all, but is structured from dark plasma, invisible, perhaps even sharing our own galactic space, operating in ways we're only just beginning to conceive?
Something to ponder, definitely.
Thank you for joining us on this truly extraordinary deep dive.